if you go looking on social media, is telling you to leave your W-2. They're telling you got to get out of it. And so we get it in our minds that we need to just go ahead and quit today. We got those that leave early. We got those that leave a little or stay a little too long. They run out of money. They've left their W-2. They believe they're going to make a ton of money, and they quit, and now they have nothing to fall back on. Reality is, quitting your job isn't going to make you an investor. It's only going to make you unemployed. It was a 10-year path in order for me to go from where I could actually leave my job. One of the big ones was the flood, which cost me $20,000. You actually have the ability to negotiate from a position of strength. You will make bad deals if you are desperate, and we're going to miss opportunities. My goal is not to escape my W-2 job. My goal is to build something strong enough that I no longer need it. All right, good morning, good morning. I hope everyone is doing well today. So today's topic is going to be leaving our W-2 or quitting our job. Now look, everyone, if you go looking on social media, is telling you to leave your W-2. They're telling you got to get out of it. The goal is to get away from your W-2. And so we get it in our minds that we need to just go ahead and quit today. And I'm here to say that there are some things that we really need to think about if we want to make that decision. Because here's the truth of the matter. Most investors leave way too early. Some stay way too long, right? We got those that leave early. We got those that leave a little or stay a little too long. And then there's very few that actually know the right way to leave their W-2. And hopefully we're going to cover some of those topics. Now listen, the lie that everyone believes, W-2 is equal to a trap, right? W-2 is equal to a trap. Entrepreneurism is equal to freedom. And social media kind of glamorizes this entire thing of we've got to figure this out. We've got to get away from our W-2 and we got to go start making some money. But the reality is this: people quit way too early. And what do I mean by that? They run out of money. They've left their W-2. They believe they're going to make a ton of money, and they quit, and now they have nothing to fall back on. And so what happens is they start losing momentum. They start feeling like this isn't the right step for them. Maybe investing isn't the right avenue or approach, and they don't get the real benefit of becoming an actual multifamily investor or a real estate investor. And some actually start to go backwards. So they have all these things in their head, and they want to leave the W-2. They know they're going to be multi-millionaires next year. So what's the holdup? Let's go ahead and make it happen, right? But that's not reality. Reality is, quitting your job isn't going to make you an investor. It's only going to make you unemployed. So now you're sitting here with no money, trying to become a multifamily investor, and you really just haven't thought through the whole process. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about my career. I was an engineer for 30 plus years. And, in the beginning, I really just didn't know anything about multifamily or real estate investing. So we'll kind of write that part off. But once I started to figure it out, it was a 10-year path in order for me to go from where I could actually leave my job to get to the point to where I was actually making real money in multifamily. Okay. And so, during this time, I was able to put some money away. I was investing in stock. I was investing in some other things, making mistakes. And that's the key. You're going to make mistakes, right? So over that 10-year period, I made numerous mistakes. One of the big ones was the flood, which cost me $20,000. Now, had I not had this W-2 to go back on, that would have been a significant issue for me, right? But because I did have a W-2 and I did have the ability to to take a step forward and go ahead and pay off this thing. It was okay for me. Now, the other part of this is banks do look favorably on you when you have a W-2. And there's going to be times when you're going to want to take out a loan. And if you are in a situation where you're acting as an entrepreneur and you have no consistent income coming in, the bank is going to frown on that. They're not going to look at that as a positive thing. And so, it was one of the things that I found out was it's difficult to buy a house when you can't show that you have W-2 income coming in. So, as you become a good entrepreneur and you start building these small streams of income, that's going to help. But if you just leave your W-2 and jump out here and say, I'm going to, I've got all this money coming in, and you can't show a positive stream, the bank's not going to approve you for some of these loans, right? For a personal loan of say 100K or to go buy a house. And so some of those are very important that you consider before you actually leave your W-2. Now, what are some of the things that actually make it a little easier on you once you do decide that you're going to stay at your W-2 for long enough to actually make things happen? Now, working a W-2 actually makes it easier on you in negotiations in the beginning, right? You have no track record. You're not afraid that if I don't close this deal, that I'm going to be broke, right? So you're not taking desperate measures in order to survive. You actually have the ability to negotiate from a position of strength, right? We've talked about how it covers up losses. It makes it easier for the banks to finance. You've got stable income, so you have some buying power. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some of the other risks, right? Forced deals, the negotiation piece that I was talking about. Bad deals. You will make bad deals if you are desperate, right? You're going to become an emotional investor. You're going to have nothing to fall back on, so you're going to make really bad decisions. Now, the other thing is a lack of runway. When you are building this multifamily career, which is what you hope it'll be, you can take tiny steps. Maybe you will start with buying a single family home as an investment, right? Maybe you can take that and you can buy a couple of these and you're building up some equity there. You're putting away some money on the side. You've got all these things in position to start moving forward. And then when you start this bounce that we're always talking about, you're coming in from a position of strength. Now, what is some of the flip side of this? Staying too long. What we don't want to do is stay so long because we're comfortable, right? And we are going to slow our growth and we're going to miss opportunities because we've stayed way too long. Because there is a possibility that, as we're building out partnerships, maybe we want to go into syndications, maybe we've gotten to a position where we're actually making enough money now that it's covering all of our debt. That's when it's okay to move on, because you're going to learn so much when you're out there and you're able to work an 8-hour day focusing on your multifamily versus focusing on the W-2, right? Now, one thing, the W-2 is not your identity. Your identity is a multifamily investor or a real estate investor. So let's break this down into phases. Phase 1, right? We're working our W-2, we start saving capital, we start building up those broker relationships, we learn how to underwrite property, and we learn the entire operations of multifamily investment. Number 2, we're going to start stacking. So the first deal closes, we're feeling pretty good, we start to stabilize it, we go out, we get our second deal, some cash flow starts coming in, so we're feeling really good about stacking. Okay, now once we have enough income that can replace our expenses, That's when number 3 happens, the transition. Okay, we've replaced our income. We start building enough assets that we're feeling confident about walking away, and it's time to go ahead and move forward. Now, so here's what I want to ask you. Let's talk about the decision framework. Do I have consistent deal flow? Yes or no? If yes, we can move to the next step. If no, let's build up that consistent deal flow. Do I have cash reserves that can carry me for 6 to 12 weeks? If yes, and I've already built up consistent deal flow, should be good to go on walking away. Do I have proven execution? In other words, have I taken a deal from start to finish? Do I know how to exit that deal? And am I leaving from a position of strength or a position of frustration? If I'm leaving from a position of strength, I should be good to go. If I'm just frustrated with my W-2, I need to think about all of these other things, right? Now, my goal is not to escape my W-2 job. My goal is to build something strong enough that I no longer need it. Now, here's the thing. Stop rushing, start building. Let's follow the framework we just talked about, because the smart investors are not going to burn those W-2 bridges, right? They're going to use them to cross over into the financial freedom. Now, if you like what I say, if you like what I'm talking about, if you've enjoyed my conversations over the last few months, please visit thebalancemethod.com. Come and say hey, and I look forward to talking with you. Thank you.